Hey team, and welcome back. Part 2 of 3 for CombatFlite introduction series, and we are back with our scenario where we're doing a training mission for 2-ship Harriers to go in and strike a pair of compounds. This section we've already talked about the basic setup, so now we're going to focus on the assets and threats. So that means we're going to stick our targets in here, we're going to add the threats to the area, forward lines of troops, orbits, packages and flights. Right then, so let's jump into CombatFlite, and now you can see we've got our VFR sectional view of the area, and we know broadly speaking that we're going to be taking off and returning to Batumi. We're going to be going out to our target area, and we're going to be doing a single delivery before egressing, and it's all going to be done at low level. So the first thing we want to do is define our target area. So let's go to the map. I happen to know that the target area is in this lake. So I'm just going to define the whole area as the target area right now. I don't want to be too accurate. I know that there's 2 compounds, so I'm going to use the designated mean point of impact tool to specify these 2 targets. And I know that they're on this northeast corner, so I'm just going to do 1 and 2 there. Now you'll see that I can specify the lat long of those 2 DMPIs, which I don't have them to hand right now, but I know I will do before the mission. So I'm just going to go in later on and update those to make sure that they're correct. But this will get us started. The next thing that we're going to do, and I'm just hitting right click to make sure I'm not adding any more DMPIs, is I'm going to specify our threats. So I'm going to put in a ground unit hostile symbol here, and I know that on the west side of the lake there is some AAA, so hostile self-propelled AAA, and we know it's a battery or company size. We don't need the symbol to be quite so large, so I'm just going to reduce that down to 0.4. So now we know what we're hitting and what the threats are in the area. The next thing that we're interested in is making sure that we understand where our forward line of own troops is going to be. So for the purpose of this mission, we know that they're going to be pushing in, kind of in from the low ground, or held back at the low ground, south and southwest of the target area. This will help us when we come to do our route selection later. Not going to be utilising this mission as part of the plan, but useful to have it on here just in case we need them. We know that this particular scenario we're going to have an air-to-air track, and that's going to be running east-west in the basin, and you can see that this is recognised as an air-to-air refueling track already with the AR designation here. And the other thing that we know that's in the area is an AWACS. So we'll add that, and I know that that's south running east-west, just north of the Turkish border. The thing that we can specify here is I know that the air-to-air refueling tanker is going to be running around at 23,000 feet, and I don't know the frequency off the top of my head, but we can figure that out and we can add it later. Similarly, we can set that for the AWACS, but as it's not going to be a factor, I'm just going to leave that for the time being. And notice that we can, if we want to, get rid of some of these just by hiding them if it's useful. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a package. Now, for a single flight of aircraft, a 2-ship like this, strictly speaking, it's probably unnecessary, but very useful to get in the habit when you start operating with strike packages, seed packages, CAS packages. So I'm going to create a package and name it strike, and make sure it's active. You can see it's highlighted here, which leaves us one final step, and that is going to be creating our flight itself. So today there isn't actually a strike role here, so we're going to add close air support, and it's the AV-8B. We're not going to worry about the payload at this exact moment, I'll come back to that, but we do know it's going to be a 2-ship. Now, in the previous video we set up our coalitions, and that's why we can only see UK there. So that leaves us to create some waypoints. So I'm not actually going to add all of the waypoints in just yet, but I am just going to snap this one to me because that's going to be our departing airfield. And then I'm just going to right click to deselect it. Now once I've got that selected again, I'm going to go through this and check it real quick. So we've already selected this UK, we've selected the aircraft, we've selected the type in the previous menu. We don't want it to be a DCS call sign. I want to use one of the custom call signs we added to the settings, and this one's going to be a Trident flight. We know it's the strike package, and in this case it's selected to both the mission commander and package leader, which for our purposes is correct. Next thing we want to do is configure the flight, and here we're just going to be taking 2 Mark 82s and 2 M9s, so let's configure that very quickly. Single Mark 82. We're probably not going to need a full tank of gas. I'm going to get us defuel down to 90%, and I'm going to add our numbers. So this is going to be 450, and a client. I'm going to copy this to all flight members. I'm going to go to Trident 2, that's also going to be a client, and that's going to be Trident 1. Okay, so you can see that these copied over from the previous aircraft. I'm not going to worry about guns or anything, it's going to be pretty light and low stress. So that's it for now. Got the fundamentals we need in here, so the next thing that we can do is start looking at the map, adding our important waypoints, and start figuring out our route. So come back for part 3 where we do exactly that.